The Christmas season is upon us. Decorating, getting the home all cozy, and just creating an atmosphere that we can love and enjoy in our homes is what I am all about today. Each Christmas season, I bring out all the Christmas books to read to the kids. We have already started that tradition, and the girls and the little guy is loving it. It's just like brand new books, so they are really enjoying having those books out of the totes. Now it's time to make some soup. It is a soup season around here, which is one of my favorites. One dish, can't go wrong there, but we are making a homemade tomato soup. I have done this on my YouTube channel before, but I put all my tomatoes that were green in a crate in the basement, and they are just ripening like crazy. So I really needed to use them. I didn't feel like canning them, so I thought, what better way to use them than roasting them with some onion and garlic and a pepper and just making a delicious homemade creamy tomato soup with fresh sourdough sandwich bread grilled cheese. As you can see, the candles are lit often in my home. I find these beeswax tapered candles off of Amazon, and they just are wonderful. They last for quite a while. They fit all of my candle holders, and I just stock up on them this time of year. I know they can be DIY'd, but I make pour beeswax candles as Christmas gifts and for the cozy season of being inside more, but the tapered ones I have not experimented with making yet, so I do purchase them. The roasted tomatoes and other vegetables are put into my pot, and then it's time to add a little chicken broth and immersion blend it. It's got to be nice and smooth because tomato soup is a creamy, warming soup that is great for dipping those sandwiches into. Bread making along with having it done for a mealtime. So it happened to get done for this lunch meal we are having, and I thought, what better way to use hot, fresh bread? Well, and I'm going to toast it as well on my cast iron, but fresh bread than having it with this soup. So I make my sourdough sandwich bread mainly out of einkorn flour. So it doesn't do as great with folding it and even shaping it because einkorn flour is just a little bit more tricky. It's a lot more sticky to work with, but I really appreciate the benefits of the more raw original flour of einkorn than, let's say, an all-purpose. I do find a good all-purpose flour off of Azure Standard, but einkorn flour, I get off of Azure Standard as well, is just a more whole grain. There is our soup and our sandwich and delicious lunch. All right, little cleanup time in my kids' room. The little guy likes dumping out the clean laundry and then putting it back in and dumping it out and putting it back in. You know the drill if you've had little kids before. But we are cleaning up the room a little bit because I am adding a Christmas tree to their room. They had one last year, but I had it for probably 8 years, just a cheaper tree from Walmart that had surpassed its timeline. The needles were dropping like crazy. And so I found this beautiful 4.5 foot pre-lit tree, and I am excited to share it with you. I am collaborating with Vivatrees, and they are going to be offering you 6% off of your tree purchase if you use my code. And so you can find this beautiful tree on their website, Vivatrees, and I will put everything in the description box for you. But I really enjoyed this stand. It's just kind of a rustic, woodsy, almost like birch tree stand. And then the lights, the girls and the little guy love because it can go to 10 different settings of just plain white lights, colored lights, flashing different lights, and it's flocked, if I didn't mention that. So how fun to have a flocked Christmas tree. Super easy to assemble. The one downside is the snow or the flocked part of the tree does come off as you shape it or fluff it up, but that could just be vacuumed. And the little kids, if you have little kids, mine like to touch it, and they hung all their ornaments on there, so it did get white all over the ground. Now that the tree has been up for about a week, the kids really don't touch it much. They just love having the glow in their room. They'll turn the lights off and just sit and look at it. And at night, they enjoy having these lights on. It's a perfect size for a smaller space, as we live in a very small home with all shared rooms. So it would be a beautiful addition to anybody's home, whether it's one of your many trees you have in your house, one of your only trees if you live in an apartment or smaller space, or just an addition to a cozy corner of your home. So don't forget to use the coupon code that I leave on the screen for you, and check out the description box for more details. My Christmas tree has been up for a couple weeks now in our living space. Yes, I know it may be a little bit early, but I just love adding Christmas lights and the glow during the darker afternoons and evening. So I am adding some beautiful brown and tan ribbon to my tree. I think it's just darling to have these little ribbons put on a tree, hanging on a little candle holder, on a crock. So I'm adding these touches to my Christmas decor. The ribbon was from Amazon, so of course, check the description box below for these beautiful velvet ribbons. Much of my decor I have had for many years. A lot of it is DIY'd or thrifted or just well thought out. And so I really wanted to theme this year's decor with more of a tan brown addition to it. And I love the neutral look of these ribbons, but also the elegance that it adds around my home. Split pea ham soup. This is one of my family's favorites. Have the split peas, the fresh garden carrots and onion, a leftover ham, and just going to make this on the stove. It can be done in the slow cooker, which is a recipe I'll be sharing with you. But I wanted to just have it simmering on the stove for most of the afternoon so that we could enjoy it for that evening meal. One thing I did not have was any more chicken stock, so just water it was with extra seasonings for sure to add some extra flavor. Go down the little slide. Oh, the beauty of fall, all the leaves falling on the ground. The soup is simmered with the beans and the ham, and now it's time to add the extra vegetables. I love the soup because it gets so many extra vegetables in it, and the kids barely even know. So it's just a great all-around soup. Plus, it would be really delicious with that homemade sourdough bread, toasted and buttered. These fall nights sure bring about some beautiful sunsets. The kiddos are tucked into bed, and I'm sharing a glimpse of their glowing colored tree that they chose to have on that night. I mentioned before that our Sunday school class, led by my husband, is doing the study Respectable Sins. And we have finished it, and I do have to say this was probably one of the most thought-provoking studies I have ever done, especially if you do the personal reflection time, which is just a way to delve deeper and really pinpoint in your own heart where you are at with the Lord and your sins that you may not have even recognized were sins. So I have had an amazing time of growth during this season of studying this lesson. So definitely recommend that for personal or for studying in a group. The sunrise is beautiful as well, and it is breakfast time for the kiddos. We're having some oatmeal with some bananas in it, some raisins, and just enjoying making the food by candlelight, the glowing Christmas lights, sipping the coffee, and just taking in those morning sounds. All the pumpkins that I decorate with outside are often used for cooking. You don't have to have just the baking pumpkins to make pumpkin pies with. So I'm baking this white pumpkin and this orange pumpkin to cook up to freeze, and also to make a pumpkin dessert for the evening meal. After the kiddos have some crafting at school time, they wanted their snack. These protein bars are on my blog, and aren't the plates just darling? They were a gift from my friend I got to visit a while ago from just a local boutique shop and small shop that she got them at. I love the little plates. They were just perfect for kids' snacks. Now I am making a recipe that I said a while ago I would share with you. It is a sourdough applesauce cranberry bread. So this is something that will be delicious for a brunch or breakfast, for a Christmas breakfast, something to add to your holiday gifts, because you can do baked goods and put them in mini loaves. It is just a delicious, sweet recipe that is a little bit healthier with the sourdough and using maple syrup and applesauce, of course. So I will be having the recipe over on my blog, daviekillian.com, where you can get the full printout recipe if you are interested to have this delicious sweetbread in your kitchen for the Christmas or holiday season. As you can see, I am using frozen cranberries from last year, but fresh would be just as delicious. I suppose you could even do just dried cranberries, but there's something about that tart snap of a fresh cranberry. Time for some more reading, and the kids have been enjoying Peter Rabbit and His Friends tales that I got on an antiquing trip with some friends that actually I'll be sharing with you in my next video next week. Even though the house looks like Christmas on the inside, it's still a beautiful fall time outside, which I love, getting the best of both worlds. And it's time to prune back my giant rose. Each year, over the past couple years, I have trimmed the branches back a ways at least, because it just gets to be a monstrosity. And while the kids are playing, I'm taking some time to take care of the outside. I did all my other garden work pretty much except this, because I wanted to have a couple good frosts and freezes before I cut this back. That is what I have researched, and they said that is the best time of year to do it, is in the fall after some freezing. So now is the time to do it, and it takes a little time because it's so entangled into my arch and into itself with different branches that it just took quite a while to get the ones out that I no longer wanted in there. Harvest season is done, so the trucks that go by our house often have slowed way down, so the dust that rolls around has dissipated. Definitely time to clean the windows, probably a last time before it really gets cold outside. There's just something about clean windows that really makes me smile. And then fresh baked bread that everyone gets to try and enjoy. The pumpkin is all baked and time to work through it. So the thing with using white pumpkins is, of course, you're not going to get that beautiful bright orange color, but it still tastes the same. I am not saving the seeds this time. I'm just keeping the flesh of the pumpkin, the insides, and making that work because I will add it to my food processor so that I will have some nice pumpkin puree in my fridge and freezer for making pumpkin muffins, pumpkin pie, pumpkin breads, or anything else that I want to add it into. I really enjoy all the holiday homemaking, dressing up the home and making it bright and beautiful with additional lights and coziness, making from scratch foods to enjoy as a family or to share, getting together with friends and family more often, all the extra things that are involved. But the one thing is, I don't want to be stressed out when closer to Christmas time in December actually comes. So getting ahead of the game is really important for me. That's why having this pumpkin in the freezer and in the fridge is important. That way, if I need to make a pie for a holiday gathering or something else, a pumpkin roll, I will have that available. And having my decor up early helps with that too. I am pretty involved in our church and other activities, and so things throughout the community do take time, and I think that's important as a homemaker, is to be involved in our community. So just taking care of the home and some of the holiday prep and things early really saves on that stress. I want to be able to spend time with friends and family and just really think about what Christmas is and reflect on that with Jesus's birth and how important that is as a believer, to know that that is the reason we celebrate the season. So having my home and food and other things prepared ahead of time is crucial to me. One more little crafty DIY that is super simple I'm going to share with you before I say goodbye for this video. I keep vintage books in my home for decor. I just love the look of them, and this time I kind of themed them to the green and the tan and brown to incorporate with the rest of my decor. But I wanted to decorate my green stand that's by my solo chair that I have by the tree, and I didn't know how to decorate it, but I thought of these books and just putting some greens in there with some twine around it and just kind of making it a very simple DIY that many of us have those items that we could just decorate with. They could be fun Christmas books, they could be vintage books, they could just be whatever you have on hand, but something that's beautiful, simple, elegant, but yet really creates a cozy look on my stand. And I had to play with it a little bit, of course, like I usually do, before I found what I really enjoyed.